Hi, my name is Victoria Findlay Wolfe and I'm a designer for Sizzix. Let's look at the darts die. We're going to be playing with two shapes, maybe one, maybe two, maybe all together, and put together some really fun combinations to do some very interesting patterns. So first off, we're going to lay a few layers of fabric over the die. Today we're working with the Big Shot fabric series. I'm using my pretty watermelon cutting pads. I'm going to put one on the bottom. I'm going to do one on the top. What's great here is being able to cut 8 layers at a time. It's going to give me a lot of different pieces for my parts department. Okay, I got my fabric on there. We're going to roll this through and get a few more pieces. Don't worry if the die has a couple little threads that get stuck. It's just the weave of the fabric. Sometimes it doesn't like to release. So there I have a full dart and I have my half dart. So I have some extra little pieces here. You'll notice when you cut these pieces apart that there is a different end on either side of these. It's so that when you're laying these together, it looks wrong, but it's actually right. So now you're going to just match up your seams. The little dog ear points are already there so that you know where to line it up. And we're just going to go ahead and sew a 1/4 inch seam. So you're getting a lot of different palettes in play by just using these two shapes. I've had a lot of fun here just playing with solid fabrics because I find I like the graphic element of how all the different directions of these pieces come together. And then I'm also using the full dart here as well. And by playing with color and placement, I get a very three-dimensional graphic effect. That's kind of a neat thing to play with. Okay, so like I've shown you, I'm matching up my points on either end. I'm just going to go ahead and sew my coordinate seam. And we'd want to give that a good press. I have some of these that are already pressed. I'm just pressing the seam in one direction. I'd probably, in this case, on my pink and orange, want to be pressing to the dark side of the fabric. I just want to be clear on the construction that you know that when you're sewing these pieces together that you're building in vertical rows. Okay, so if you're looking at the quilt behind me, you might think that there's Y-seams in this quilt, but there's not. They're all done in vertical rows by sewing these pieces together. You can see my 2 seams coming down here that I'm just sewing these little straight edges together to make long strips and then sewing all of these rows together to make a beautiful quilt top. So let's look at some of the layouts here. So I could be putting a lot of my individual little pieces together and getting some interesting patterns by looking at what kind of colors that I'm laying next to each other, right? You get a nice kind of a waffly effect, and you also get when the points come together, there's really your darts and arrows going on in the background, okay? You could be mixing them up and doing a whole quilt just in solids, and maybe you want to just randomly drop in some of the other pieces. Remember that you're using a left and a right when you're doing this. So if you're using prints, you're going to want to put right sides together so that you're cutting them going in the opposite directions. Okay, you could also put them so that they're going to make the points. Right here, the rows are going all in the same direction. And this time they're going every other one. So one's going that way, one's going this way, which is kind of giving you that pointed effect as the rows begin to build. And then this is one that I'm having a lot of fun playing with right now. Just building these as a basic 9 patch gives you a very dimensional effect when you start putting all these rows together. So instead of just playing on the small scale, you can put more and more of these together to get a bigger design for a graphic punch. I hope you have a lot of fun playing with the darts. There's a lot of options that can happen here.